What's up, Bass-TEC fans? Welcome, everybody, to our Hooked Up Live. And we've actually got something very unique this year. We're actually combining through with Tiny Boat Nation and going to be talking some boat buildings with our points champions from each club. So we're going to have special guests that's going to come on periodically with these points champions. So with no further ado, I want to take just a brief moment, go through that of our sponsors. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. You can go back to the beginning of the feed and see all of the content on there. G2 Gemini jerseys through the rest of this year. Still enter in the G2 Georgia spelled out 22 for 25% off any apparel orders. Get over and check out Line Taming Serum on Facebook. Their products that they've got for helping out line conditioning, as well as additives and stuff that you can put on your baits to attract them, as well as Star Lures, owned by the same individual. They make soft plastics, hard baits, you name it, they've got it, Star Lures. So get over and check them out on Facebook, social media. Dugout, Bait and Tackle. We appreciate their strong support through with the Georgia Bass-TEC. If you ain't been down there and check them out down there, Marietta, go take a look for yourself. They will be glad to see you. Tiny Boat Nation, I don't have the logo uploaded on this. I apologize. TB Nation Outdoor Southeast. We've got them in here as well as the Tiny Boat Nation individual as well. So no further ado. Also, one last sponsor, PFD Fishing. I'm going to take and mention something later on in the broadcast that is very unique that we're going to do for the Georgia Bass-TEC anglers that is competing in the event in February. So stay tuned to hear this special announcement. PFD Fishing has also started doing lure makings as well. So they're actually going to be giving a 15% off discount to any purchases. Just go through PFD Fishing on Facebook, shoot them a message, let them know that the TEC sent you that way to get your promotional discount off on it. So no further ado, I will bring on the Tiny Boat Nation crew. Nick Barr.
What's up, gentlemen?
Ryan Marquez, as everybody knows him as Fire Ant.
What's going on, guys?
And I want to bring our points champions in. This is the main reason why we're here tonight with them. Mr. Phillips, Chris Phillips, and Mr. Donnie League.
Howdy.
So I want to first off just say, and I've tried to always start every single one of our Hooked Up Live shows saying this each time. Congratulations on being points champions for the year 2022. I know that the time spent on the water, there was probably a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into each tournament, and it's a feat in itself to be a points champion in one of these clubs. So congratulations to both you men.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. It was tough.
So we have a unique thing, and we're kind of going to dive right into it right off the bat with Tiny Boat Nation's involvement here. Ryan is at the actual store, Tiny Boat Nation Southeast store. So if you got any questions relating to e-propulsion products, he is more than glad to fill you in any questions. Nick's on here as well that might be able to handle any other questions as well about with the e-propulsion. So if you got any questions, feel free, drop us a comment in here. First off, do us a favor, hit the like button, share this feed out as much as you can, so that way we can try to reach as many people as possible. So that way, if they want to purchase anything through with the Tiny Boat Nation folks, e-propulsion products maybe, they can get on there and check it out. So Chris and Donnie. Yep. Donnie, you have... Or I'm sorry, Chris, you have done something unique. You've went through. Tell me about your boat. What your plans are coming up soon.
Well, I've gutted the boat. Everything's out of it. I'm ordered the premium kit from Tiny Boat Nation to in order to start rebuilding it. I'm gonna go all aluminum, deck it out, make it a bass boat.
And that's gonna help the weight out significantly. And in these electric only events that we all fish in, weight is very critical, ain't it?
Yeah. I was 3/4 inch plywood and 2x4s and everything like that. So it's going to take a lot out.
Ryan, you can chime in. You remember the days back in the plywood days, right?
Oh, I do. I was just thinking that. I was like, that's definitely how a lot of us all started with it. So, you should see a pretty significant difference between the wood and the aluminum for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking
But
forward to it.
you got the easy part already done. You got to gut it. So.
I don't know. I've watched all your videos. All of it seems pretty tough.
Chris, what size boat is it?
It's a 16-foot.
Got it. So Ryan, just if you could give an estimate for the crew here that's watching, what's the weight difference between what's the estimated weight difference on a 16-foot boat? I mean, what are you thinking in terms of reduced weight reduction?
I don't know. I mean, you're probably at least a couple 100 pounds, if not more than that. So
yeah,
it's going to be pretty severe. What does that? I forget what that kit even ships at. It's like 19 pounds or something like that. So
well, I think it said the total kit that I got. I think it said 59. I got the
you got the pro, the pro level or the premium.
okay.
Yeah.
It's so it's
30 sticks, I think, of inch and a half. It's got all the stuff.
I mean, that's about equivalent to just one sheet of plywood. So
right. Yeah, I think a sheet of 3/4 is about 70 pounds.
Right.
I haven't priced plywood, but what is plywood running right now a sheet?
I don't know.
It ain't still $100 a sheet, is it?
It makes it worth going to aluminum.
Yeah.
So, Chris, tell me this. I got a question to ask you. So, with all the rivets and everything that you're going to be going through and popping on that thing, have you looked at investing in the rivet gun?
I actually, I'm going with a air rivet gun. A lot cheaper. And that one from Milwaukee is expensive.
It is.
And I'm only building one boat, so.
But it gets the job done, let me tell you, because
oh yeah, I've seen it.
Ryan can probably vouch to it. Nick can probably vouch to it. I spent just very little time with my subfloor in mine, with just a little hand squeeze rivet gun, and I'm gonna tell you what, this hand is still sore to this day from it. So Michael Bass-TEC saying almost 50. $50 a sheet for plywood. I guess that's what he was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gone down. I know that the wood crisis was getting pretty crazy there, but it's gone down, but it still ain't like the olden days. I'll tell you that. So
So Ron Pendergrass, y'all know Ron, don't you? Ron's
Oh,
one
yeah.
else. Yep. Can't hide that money, can you? All right. So let's talk about aside from you going through decking it out and stuff like that. What about any other plans that you've got to do on the boat coming up? Aside from that, any upgrades?
I'm gonna try to get some lithiums for sure. At least 4. At least 48 volt worth of lithiums. We run 2 older Briggs and Stratton motors, and right now we're running 8 lead batteries, so it's heavy. So the goal is try to get 4.
And I believe you probably could be easily persuaded into purchasing some e-propulsion products down the road too, correct?
Well, first I'm gonna try to win them.
I threw it out there.
That's very true. I mean, John and Jose will tell you that the 20 grand plus worth of e-propulsion electric outboards is pretty dang nice.
No doubt.
We were just chatting with them, and they're looking at redoing their build as well to be able to fit the batteries in there and kind of build the boat around the motor. But of course, they have the luxury when you win the tournament.
No doubt.
So Chris and Donnie, Dustin Diamond, y'all know that name. Half ran state champion, saying he'll let y'all borrow that half state champion rivet gun.
Yeah, he's already let me borrow one. That's why he said that.
So Is it the Milwaukee rivet gun or is it a different
No,
rivet gun?
it's an air gun.
I've not used the air gun, so I couldn't.
Yeah, Harbor Freight has a few pneumatic air guns that you can get for probably like $20-$30, something like that. They're
air.
Really,
Well,
they'll get you through 1 or 2 boats. I know Nate built like 5 boats with his, but I did have to return mine a couple times. So just keep your receipt.
All right.
That's a go-to with Harbor Freight, keeping your receipts.
Right.
Yep.
That is awesome, man.
So lithium batteries, just to go ahead and mention this as well. Brian, if you want to plug in on that about with lithium batteries, what options y'all have got there through with the shop?
Yeah, right now we have, I think hold on, I'll bring it over.
Yeah, say Ryan, you can bring your if you're on your phone or if you're on your laptop, you can shine in the store there, show everybody
It's probably gonna be easier for everybody.
Yeah, if you got your phone, let's you can show everybody the shop here.
Can I turn this around?
Yeah, let me
Nope. That was not it. Okay, well.
I'm just jealous of the red beard. I used to have a totally red beard. Now I've got 3 girls. Sorry, Ryan.
You're good. So right now in here we just have the 24 volts, 60 amp hours. And they're running about 974 for those. And then you gotta get charger, battery tray, stuff like that. But we've gone with the Powerhouse. Bob Croxton, you guys know him. Hopefully by now. He's one of the owners of the company. He spent a bunch of time with us the other day, talking to us about his batteries and his knowledge behind them and why he started them. And after talking to him and looking at his app on the phone and how everything connects and the cells that they use inside these batteries, we just there's no doubt about going that direction with them. And we're trying to work with them to get actually batteries that will work for the electric outboards as well. So hopefully once they're done coming out with their line of starting batteries, they can get going on those electric outboard batteries for us. We also have the Panther steers over here. I know I'm getting off topic, but if you guys.
Oh, Ryan, you got the you guys just got in some of the propulsion E80 batteries as well. Are those up there? Or you guys have those in the back?
Oh, those are in the back right now. Still in the pallet.
Yeah. On the pallet crate, we got those fresh, hot, and ready. The 15 the E80 battery, which is like essentially for the 6 horsepower class, and then then you have the E175, which is the one that as part of the giveaway for the championship is the Navy 6.0 Evo, which is a 9.9 horsepower, and then an E175 battery pack with that as well, which is the big mama. It's about 225 pounds, but it's a massive battery, so it's got plenty of juice, 175 amp hours, and about 9,000 watt hours. Or 9,000 watts. So yeah, it's just nuts. It's a big battery, but it's all in one package instead of having to daisy chain a bunch together. So, but that's in the TBN Southeast shop. So Ryan, appreciate you out there in Oxford, Georgia. You guys are what, about 45 minutes east of Atlanta, an hour east of Atlanta?
Yeah, roughly.
Gotcha. Cool.
So I do want to mention that 15-year warranty was for the Powerhouse lithium batteries.
Correct.
Steve had made a comment on that. I didn't catch if you'd mentioned that or not.
Yeah. Nice, man. Well,
so go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Chris, like, what your dream boat. I mean, you're going to be building this new rig and everything. Do you have an idea on what kind of decking you're going to do on it in terms of you're going to go with carpet, you're going to go with hydroturf? I mean, what are you thinking you're going to do on the top deck?
I'm not 100% sure yet. Probably some type of definitely not carpet. Something else. I'm not 100% sure yet though.
Gotcha. The turf is nice, whether you go with like hydroturf or you do a custom route like Chris and Ryan at the shop are doing custom sea deck stuff. It's just carpet's the hard to upkeep. That turf stuff looks a heck of a lot better. I just did that in my tracker last year, and I'm way happier with the turf. So makes a lot.
Yeah, it'll be something along those lines for sure.
I gotcha.
I laid the
Cool.
HydroTurf down. I loved the HydroTurf on it. Now I've got, correct me if I'm right, Ryan, it's the C-Deck etched, custom etched.
Yeah, C-Deck.
Yeah. I like them both. I really, really do. So let's take and kind of, I'm going to interact a little bit back and forth, some comments coming in. Dusty Diamond was asking about when ePropulsion might possibly release a bigger motor. Do y'all want to input anything about that, TB Nation guys?
That is a R&D project, currently in the works. ePropulsion is always looking to push the envelope when it comes to that. And, it's funny because a lot of all the different brands you see out there, you got ePropulsion, you have Elko, you have Torpedo, you got a couple knockoff, companies. You have, some in-house like Ray and Stealth, smaller operations, or even up to Pure Watercraft, who's, putting out a $75,000 pontoon boat. Every one of these electrical outboard companies is looking to fill a niche, and that niche for ePropulsion getting started was the smaller boater, was the bass fisherman, the dinghy or tender for a sailboat and stuff like that. And so they just been trying to put in time to serve those smaller motor customers. And then also, there's a huge rush to industrial sized motors. So ePropulsion just came out with a inboard motor. They came out with a 20, a 30, and a 40 horsepower inboard, and then also they came out with 160 horsepower, commercial grade motor. Nobody's gonna be putting that in the John boat. So the technology is there. It's just being able to put it into an outboard form and get the props and the pitch right, and get the performance to where people would want it. So that's all currently in the works. I can't say nothing, but they've already come out with a 20, a 30, and a 40 inboard. So you'll probably see down the road some tricks up their sleeve for sure. But it's the batteries really is the biggest thing. Just like you guys have seen with all your no matter what brand of boat motor you're running, it comes down to the batteries to make, in terms of the investment and the weight and stuff like that. So we're just seeing rapid improvement in the lithium battery packs. ePropulsion's coming out with, they announced it in Europe, a new battery pack as well. The big giant battery pack, a new kind of mega sized battery pack. So a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. So, there's definitely going to be some of that. There's no, timeline. But like I said, they already come out with some inboards. So if you want to run an inboard instead of an outboard and put that weight of the motor inside the boat instead of hanging off the back, let us know, because we haven't got to play with those yet. So that'll be a fun project to put a 40 horsepower inboard in a John boat. Somebody want to sign up for that one?
TBN Southeast can definitely saw right through that transom, can't you? That is a nerve-wracking experience, seeing a transom come off a boat. Maybe that's just me. But so Ron's got a question for Chris and Donnie. Let's touch base on this a little bit. What's y'all's all-time favorite jig color combo trailer color, and possibly like jig weight as well?
Go ahead, Don. You the jig man.
I thought you were the jig man, but I mean, I can't say that I have a favorite. I guess it just comes down to the watercolor mostly. If I had to pick one that I'm gonna start with every time, I'm some kind of natural color, just like most people. Natural colors, and I like black and blue a lot as well.
What about you? Like PB&J?
I do, but I don't. It's not one of my go-tos, I would say.
You got specific trailers you like with it, colors?
I like Z-Crawls a lot, and I like Rage Tails a lot.
Rage Tail just because it displaces a lot of movement of water?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And if I want something that's not something with a little less action, I generally go with a Z-Crawl.
So I'm going to ask a crazy question on this to expand a little bit. Do you like to trim the weed guard some and make it more easily hookable or not?
Sometimes, not for the sometimes I do. I guess it just depends on more of what I'm fishing. If I'm out more in open water, that sort of thing, then yeah, I'll definitely trim it up. But if I'm fishing in some heavier cover, which I generally prefer to do, I kind of leave it alone. That's something that I'll make the call on in the boat. I don't usually do it before I leave the house or anything like that.
Yeah. All right, Chris, let's hear it from you, sir.
Well, I like throwing a 1/2 ounce green pumpkin jig, probably more than anything. And I like that Z-Crawl trailer a good bit. I never cut anything off my weed guards ever.
Well,
No cutting of the weed guard.
Nah, usually when I'm throwing a jig, I'm usually, I got some heavyweight stuff on, so I ain't really worried about, getting a hook in one.
That's almost sacrilegious, man, unless you're fishing in California Delta with grass or down in Florida. So I commend you on that, because I would lose way too many fish. In my brain, I would think I'd lose way too many fish by not cutting the weed guard down or thinning that baby out a little bit. That's probably why I lose so many dang jigs.
so let's hear it from both of y'all. What's your favorite line to match with your jigs?
I like that a Bass-TEC, usually 20 pound.
I'm the same.
Sweet.
Yes.
So between 17 and 20.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm at somewhere like Lanier, somewhere like that, I'll drop down to 15, but it's usually 20 pound.
Do you ever go to like finesse jigging some?
Yeah, we did it more this year than what we've ever done before, actually. And it worked out pretty good at a couple tournaments. So, yeah, when I do that, like I said, I go to about 15 pound,
Yeah. So Daniel Nicolai, y'all know that name. This man is telling y'all congratulations.
No, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So you were saying the rod what again?
I usually use a pretty, stiff 7.5 foot, 7 foot heavy action rod. Like I say, when I'm jig fishing, even with a finesse jig, I throw a pretty heavy rod. Throw it on a pretty heavy rod.
Yeah. So let's hear about y'all's season. Y'all were points champion. I don't remember how many events. And Xtreme Jon boat. I'm sorry, I didn't probably mention that in the very beginning of the show. You're a points champion with the Xtreme Jon boat club. So, how many events did y'all fish last year? Was it 9, 10?
It was 10 regular events in the classic.
So did you have out of those events like a memorable, monumental catch, something that y'all felt like was a turning point for the season, or something of a memory?
A couple of them. One of them was at Varner. We pull up to our first spot, first cast. Donnie catches one about 4.5 pounds, and that started that day off pretty well. We went on to win that one, and he wore him out that day. And probably the other was at J.W. Smith. We made a good call about halfway through the tournament. We weren't doing anything, and made a call, went down the lake and got on them, and just had a pretty good day. Extended, got our lead out there a little bit.
What you, Donnie? What do you feel like?
Those are two of them for me. Unfortunately, I'm more of a pessimist. The mistakes tend to stick with me a little more than the victories. I think about the ones I missed that could have won us the tournament or could have got us some more points and that sort of thing. But I agree with both of Chris's. And he talked about making that call. He's the one that makes those calls a lot of times and puts us in the position to either turn a bad day around or something like that, or get us started off in the right direction. And he's really good about that.
Do y'all feel like there was a moment in the season that you wished some things like something you could have done differently, possibly?
Off the
Rocky
top of my
Mountain.
head, I can't think of one specific, but I know generally driving home or back to my car or the night after a tournament, we generally talk about things that we wish we would have tried or didn't think of in the moment, or that sort of thing, or having a fish jump out of a live well or something like that. Yeah, there's always something you think you probably should have done different, especially on the tough days. But I can't think of a specific situation.
So to mention it about the live well, I don't know what type of live well y'all utilize, but Ryan can definitely hook y'all up with those splash guards for the live wells. That kind of helps keep the fish contained a little bit better. When they come up and jump, they run up the sides and they hit the side top, and they don't typically jump out as much. So I think TB Nation sells that on y'all's website too, correct?
Sure.
Yeah, after that happened, I rigged up a plexiglass across the top, and we didn't have that happen again. So that was a learning experience for sure.
Yeah, his idiot partner in the back of the boat was responsible for that one.
I heard you say, Chris, something about with Rocky Mountain being difficult.
Yeah, we were struggling, and at the end of the day, Donnie had one on. It was probably it was a good fish. It was over 9, and fish just come up one time and then dove back down, just broke him off. It was just, nothing he could do. It was just bad lick on a day we was having a pretty rough day anyway.
That was the one I was thinking of that I didn't want to relive again.
And we can tell everybody Rocky Mountain is in South Georgia, way, way away from Atlanta. It's nowhere near around here. You don't even need to go fish it, right?
Nah, it's an old mud hole.
And they call it Rocky Mountain?
Rocky Mountain PFA. It's DNR manage it. They do a superb
in South
job.
Georgia.
No, I don't want to lie. It's not South Georgia.
There's Rocky Mountains in South Georgia. Never would have known that one.
So Michael Bass-TEC has got a great question. So this is a newcomer into electric only tournament trail fishing. Do y'all two, as points champions, and correct me if I'm right, y'all have qualified every year for the TEC so far?
Well, we actually weren't able to the first couple of years, but
First year.
Last year we were, and this
Gotcha.
year, of course, we are.
So do both of y'all have any pointers for someone coming in first time to electric only tournament fishing?
Yeah, I do. When you get to a lake, pick you out a creek arm or something like that and learn it. You're not going to go fast, so the more time you spend fishing, the better off you'll be. Making long runs in an electric boat's tough, so I would find a creek arm or something like that and learn every bit of it. That's what I try to do when I first get to a lake before I start branching out.
It's a good point. Very good point. Yeah. What about you, Donnie?
I kind of second that. I mean, I don't have nearly the experience that Chris has fishing these tournaments. I think this year was just my third year, Chris.
Yep.
It was my third year fishing these tournaments, and a lot of I'm really following Chris's lead a lot on that sort of thing. I guess I would say make sure your batteries are charged.
What would you say is probably your biggest adjustment? You're the co-angler with Chris in the boat, but what would you say was the biggest adjustment? Because it sounded like you came from a big boat, big lake environment to this. What would you say was your big adjustment?
There was some of that for a while, and there was a lot of bank fishing in that too. For me, the biggest adjustment is, especially starting out. I would say the first year we fished together, probably the first 2 years, I wasn't versatile enough as a partner or a co-angler. Chris and I generally have the same confidence baits for the most part. We fish very similar, and we were both fishing that way starting out. And I found, a little bit last year and a little more this year, trying to be a little more versatile in the back of the boat, trying to take advantage of having 2 lines in the water until we can find a pattern or what the fish may like, as being the biggest difference for me. I'm not always throwing what I would throw first. A lot of times I'm throwing, I'm starting out with my second or third option.
Yep. So Dusty's got a question to y'all. Didn't that happen at Ackworth last year as well? I'm assuming he's talking about losing a big fish.
No, he's talking about one jumping out of the live well.
Was it a big fish that jumped out?
No, it was 2.5, 3 pounder. It wasn't nothing real big.
First fish of the day, it spun us out.
Yeah, sure did.
Right, first thing in the morning, caught one on topwater frog, and ended up jumping out of the live well early on and made for a bad day.
Now that place is a mud hole.
Yeah, it is. But
I mean, it's got good fishing, but it's a mud hole.
Yeah, it is.
Depends on the day.
It's definitely stained up, though, no doubt.
Dusty, I shouldn't even put that on the screen, sir.
Yeah, you should. You should.
All right, so Jay Doss, I don't know if y'all know Mr. Doss, has a question. How important is the net man in the boat?
I want to say that it's the most valuable thing in the boat.
So who's the net man in y'all's boat?
Oh, that's gonna be me. I'll be the first to admit it.
Nah. Whoever's got the hot hand, man, is
Well, if I remember correctly, we got a video from y'all at Julia, and Donnie, didn't you? You was the net man in that video,
yes,
if I remember correctly. So
yeah, if y'all want to watch, he did a great job. Best in the business.
That's awesome.
You guys need to see the Rapala ad with the Netman action figure. That's what you need. You need the Netman action figure in the.
I'm gonna glue that to my dash.
So I'm gonna take a brief pause just for a moment. I want to take in mention something and play an advertisement just for a split second. We have coming up in January our banquet. It's going to be an open event for all the qualifiers for the Georgia Bass-TEC, as well as anybody else that would like to attend it. It's a free event, but we're going to have a night. It's going to be called the Nights of Lights. So 100% fundraising. All of our proceeds that we receive is going directly to the Shriners organization. So really great cause, fun night. We're going to have the state champion as well as previous state champions there. Tiny Boat Nation's going to have some representation there as well, some booths set up. It's going to be a real fun night. So I'm going to take just a brief pause for just a moment and give that intro to it so that way y'all can make sure to attend it if you can.
There's no telling what electric Jon boat fishing could turn into.
Taking this TEC to a much higher level.
This is the best anglers in the state.
The TEC's the cream of the crop.
Meet a lot of folks with similar interests, in different parts of the state.
It's a community experience. We enjoyed every second of it.
It's a super big deal for us, something we won't forget for
a
very long time.
Something we absolutely will never forget.
Yeah, I'm still over the moon. It's amazing.
Let's get up there. Come on. Unbelievable.
Community, the Jon boat fishing that it's become, especially here in Georgia, it's an amazing thing to see. We enjoyed every second of it.
Thank y'all for just bearing with us just for a second on that. I wanted to put that advertisement out there. So everything will be up on our website, Georgia Bass-TEC. Get over and check it out. Meal tickets, we're going to allow up to 200. I think we're probably about halfway there for meal tickets. So make sure we'll be opening that up very, very soon. If you want to make donations to it for the good cause for the Shriners organization as well, go to the website, send us an email. We'll be more glad to set you up on that through a Georgia Bass-TEC. So let's take a brief moment and talk e-propulsion product if you want, Nick, Ryan.
Yeah.
Prime time, you're there through with the shop, the store, sorry. Shop and stores there together. So I'm always used to going there to getting my boat worked on and calling it the shop. So with the store there, if you want to take and go through and show some product line through with e-propulsion.
Yeah, Ryan, if you want to go show the motors on the stands. But one, Merrick, I am super stoked for the banquet. That is an awesome idea, and letting having a place for everybody in the TEC to be able to everybody in the TEC to be able to come together and have a night to just enjoy and hang out and have good food and be able to share with all the other guys across all the different clubs. I mean, the TEC is amazing as a tournament, but you don't get that time to really, afterwards, especially if it's a tough day of fishing, you don't necessarily get that time. Not everybody wants to hang out after they got their butt kicked on the lake all day. So, being able to have a banquet and stuff, I'm really excited for that. So thank you for helping putting that together and bringing that to fruition. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So, and I know some of y'all's clubs, you don't necessarily like have a club meeting every month. So it'd be cool to be able to meet all the other club members and get to meet some of y'all. But Ryan, thanks for shining a light here on the motors real quick. I'll bring you up on the
and correct me if I'm right. That one on the far right is the Navy 3.0, right? Or is that the 6.0?
Ryan, well, you point a finger.
I'm backwards. I can't.
Yeah, Ryan, the way the StreamYard works, you got to have the phone backwards. That's the 6.0. Yeah. That's the big boy. You can see the big engine casing there on the bottom of the motor there. That's the Navy 6.0 Evo. That's the 9.9 horsepower equivalent. And then to the left, you're going to see the Spirit 1.0 Plus. I think they got the Navy 3.0, which is the 6 horsepower, probably in a box in the back, not up on the stand yet. You can see those are actually motor stands that Chris and Ryan have welded together. So if you need a motor stand, they got some awesome little aluminum motor stands too. But the 3 horsepower platform, and there's also the 6 horsepower platform and the 9.9 horsepower platform. And all of those motors are on a 48 volt setup. In the Spirit 1.0 Plus, which Ryan, you want to go over and show the Spirit 1.0 Plus a little closer? That motor is a portable, designed as a portable motor. The battery pack, which you see on the top there, is actually the battery pack. And then the motor is in the lower unit casing there. And, it's just a lightweight package, just like 40 or 45 pounds or so, and gives you that 3 horsepower, about 210 pounds of equivalent thrust. So that's the easiest way to get involved and get started with like an electric outboard. And then you bump up to the 6 horsepower and the 9.9 horsepower, which is the Navy Evo class of motors. And that's where you got to get into the larger battery packs, the E-Series lithium battery packs. The 6 horsepower class really pushes a like 14-foot boat real well, up to 16 and a half foot, real lightweight. Power to weight ratio is extremely well on that because you don't need big, massive batteries and only pulls 62 amps at 48 volts. So it's a really great power to weight ratio, bang for your buck. Wow. And that 9.9 that they have there, that's the big boy. So, that's going to be for your 17, 18, 19 foot big old barges that, the battery requirements are quite a bit more on that because that's pulling 125 amps at 48 volts versus 62 amps for the 6 horsepower. So there's quite a big jump in power, but mostly a jump in, the thrust for your larger holes. So, thanks for showing those there, Ryan. We just got those in the shop, in Oxford, Georgia. So close by, you guys want to come touch and feel and take one for a spin. I think also the Spirit 1.0 Pluses, they're renting those out as well. So if you are just thinking about trying one out, or you want to just get started with e-propulsion, you can drop by and pick one of those up and take one for a spin just to see how you like it. But anything else you want to add to that, Ryan, or what you guys got going in there in the shop?
Yeah.
Those Panther electric steers, that was something we've had trouble getting those in. And I know a lot of guys like those Panther electric steers. They're hard to come by. We just got them in. You know, a lot of guys like with the electric Jon boat stuff, you know, really not having a steering console or anything like that, either tiller handle, or if you like the electric steer, the Panther T4 electric steers, you know, allow you to be able to run that outboard from anywhere on the boat. So if you guys need to stand more up towards the front of the boat to, you know, equal out your weight when you're under power, you know, you can control that motor remotely. They have a wired switch it comes with, and then it also comes with a wireless like key fob remote as well, as like an addition to that. So there's a couple different routes you can go there. But I know people have been clamoring for us to get them, and I've been having so much trouble. You know, Panther Marine has been just swamped, and they're actually based out of Canada, and it's been tough as heck to try and get product in. So that's all we got for now, and I don't know when we're getting more in. But what else you got going on there in the shop real quick, Ryan, and then we'll jump back to more fishing questions.
Yeah, we have a lot of just the aluminum products that are on the website as well, powder coated in different colors. A lot of you guys saw these at the TEC last year, the caddies. One of the newer products is the bilge pump out plate. We have them in a single, a double, and a triple, and basically that allows you to move your bilge pump higher up onto your transom, because a lot of the issues that we've been seeing is with all the added weight in some of the boats, that bilge pump outlet tends to take in water, so that helps negate that. And we're kind of running slim on some products because we've been having some people coming in, but we have all the aluminum products, and then we also have all the electrical products over here, the six switch fuse panels, the fuse blocks, 6 and 12, battery on off switches, the circuit breakers for your trolling motor, wiring, front and rear nav lights, stuff like that, bunch of rivets. So we have a bunch of spare stuff here for sure.
Yeah, when you're building the boats like you guys are, you end up accumulating a lot of stuff, and the store just essentially became a secondary thing to the shop. I mean, it was, you guys were working in that space originally building boats, and then now you've moved to bigger spaces and got that as a showroom. So it's pretty cool to see what you guys have accomplished in a few months. So that's pretty cool, man.
Greener pastures.
Yeah, man. Thanks for running through that, Ryan. But
so I got a question. Are y'all obviously selling online now the day boxes? Because I've seen them posted on social media, and I really like those day boxes.
Yeah, the day boxes are on there on tbnation.net. Just jump on there and type in day box, and those will pull right up, you know, storage, lure storage and stuff like that. I mean, pretty much anything that's aluminum that can help you go fishing and enjoy your time on the water and make your build, you know, the way you want to make it, we pretty much are making now. So, you know, and if you don't want to install it yourself, you can just call up Chris and Ryan at TBN Southeast, and they'll do the dirty work for you.
So I got a question for Chris and Donnie. When you made every angler out there wants to go to succeed. Going into the TEC event coming up in February, y'all's goal is to win it. Have y'all already thought with the boat build process for the back hatch to be able to accommodate a larger style battery pack to be able to fit into it?
Yeah, the one of the hatches that I have, one of the lids is really big, and I'm gonna put it in the back just for that.
Because I know that was one of the issues, I think, with this year's 2022's TEC champions, John White and Jose Rivera. Their boat, they had an issue with the having to. I think then they had to get involved with you, Ryan, for doing some modifications, possibly, or talking through getting some product, trying to change it up.
Who was that?
John White and Jose Rivera. Didn't they have to modify their back hatches just to get the battery pack, the E175, to fit in it?
Yeah. On their current boat, they had to chop out the back. I think they had to chop out the back end just to be able to fit that big battery underneath there.
Yeah.
But you know, nothing too crazy. But I think they need to take out a support and then, you know, make the battery the box. Originally, the way they built it, they didn't build it to have, you know, a big giant lithium in there. They built it with, you know, thinking they were just going to place a bunch of lead acids. What they had originally, you know, a bunch of lead acids all over the place. So It required a little bit of work, but not terribly too much.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Well, hey, like I say, you guys fish the TEC, you'll be, 1 out of 40 or whatever it is.
So I want to give Dusty a hard time, being he's half reigning state champion. He's asked if he wants to rent, and I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, if y'all rent him a motor, it's gonna have to be triple the price, and he cannot blast off. And this is live; everybody hears this. Chris, Donnie, you help back me on this. He won't be able to take and blast off for at least 15 minutes after everybody. Agreed?
100%.
Done. Sorry, Dusty.
Yeah, he don't need any advantages.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, me. So, y'all fire away if you got any questions. I know we've kind of touched base on a lot of different aspects between boat building. Nick, Ryan, y'all can jump in anytime if y'all have anything, if I haven't touched topics wise. Anybody else out there, viewers?
I was curious as to how long you guys have actually been competing.
Whew. I started probably back in the late 90s, fishing with another buddy of mine. We used to fish in Southern Jon boat anglers. It was a trail years ago, and fished with them some, and then fished with some different West Georgia clubs. And yeah, I'd like to take the time right now to thank Jeff Reese for the way he runs Xtreme. It's a really good ran club, and Jeff does a great job.
I had no idea that you would. I mean, I'm sorry, and I hope this don't offend you. That's old school Southern Jon. I hadn't heard that club name, and it's been how many years since they was around? Probably 15.
Yeah, it's been a while. There's some good sticks in that trail back in the day. That was back when Varner was top of the fishing world.
So you know the name Randall Kirkpatrick very well then, right?
Yeah, I know of Randall. Mark Lazinski was another one. That was a fishing son gun right there.
Mark and Chris, was it Chris, his son?
Yeah, that was his son. Yep. Yeah. Them jokers could get it done.
Yes. I'm trying to think, Joe Martin? Joe and Chris Martin?
I don't know them. I fished against God, what's his name? Damn it.
Dusty, I don't even. I'm just gonna stop.
What's bad is as bad as I beat him this year, he's still in diapers.
We got a picture of it if you want to see it.
Him in diapers?
Wow, it's messing.
Dusty, if I see any pictures floating around the next 24 to 48 hours, my phone is fixing to get shut off. I'm changing my phone number, folks. Wow. So Michael Bass-TEC, giving thanks to you, Nick, for giving advice on the motor and the boat this afternoon.
Yeah, of course, Michael. We're excited to work with you, man. Thanks for putting your trust in Tiny Boat Nation and our crew here. It's been a huge blessing to be a part of the community, and then also just, help serve people and get people on the water. So thanks for saying that. And also I'm looking forward to you, working with the guys at the Southeast shop, and, they put their hearts and minds into building boats, man. So it's cool to be able to see that come to fruition. So I think John White has joined the chat here, Mr. Champ himself.
Half reigning state.
All right. Good question about the upcoming TEC.
So Chris and Donnie, have either of you guys been on Blue Ridge yet?
Never seen it.
Nope, not yet.
Of course, we didn't. We had never fished Juliet either, so we went down there. We're gonna go a couple times this winter. Try to get out there and see what it looks like.
You already kind of started doing your homework, researching it, and got your go-to spots, kind of like what you was talking about earlier, Donnie?
We have an idea as of right now, a very tentative idea as of right now. We'll firm that up, a little bit once we get a little bit closer.
We might bring y'all back on, and you can give full details then, right?
Absolutely.
Shoot, yeah.
I'll tell everybody right where to go and exactly what to throw.
Just say follow Dusty Diamond around, right?
That's right.
That's the man.
So
that's who I'm gonna follow.
Have any of the clubs actually fished at this lake, or is this going to be a first time for everybody type deal?
So Electric Bass opens, I want to say 2 years ago, not this 2022 season, but in 2021, I think they had it on their schedule. They were the first club for the electric only stuff that had fished it before. They fished it in the summer months, if I remember right, or it was definitely post spawn. But rest of us clubs, none of us have ventured to putting it on schedule and fishing it. Hence the reason why we're fishing at the time of year we are, to try to minimize the boat traffic as much with pleasure boaters out on it and stuff like that. We can, it's 3,000 and something acre lake. You can run nearly, the lake's low, probably about 7-8 miles plumb up to the river from the boat ramp where it's going to be at. So a lot of these electric only guys have got some, a lot of the electric outboards has got some traveling distances if they're going to make some long runs. But
Eric, a question for you, maybe even, Donnie or Chris can attend to this. I was looking on Google Maps because, I live out in the desert, so I don't get to fish too much anymore. But I was looking at Google Maps and taking a look at this lake and looking at the layout. And it looks like it fluctuates quite a bit. It's got a good fluctuation to it throughout the year. Do y'all know, kind of have an idea what that water level is going to look like in late February? Is it going to be, is it going to be filling up and getting towards the high point with the runoff coming from the mountains, or is it going to be low? Like on Google Maps, I think it looks like about 20 feet low or 15 feet low on Google Maps from when they took that picture.
So it just depends, just like what you're saying for the rains going into the first of the year. Right now here in Georgia, we've been having quite a good bit of rain. A lot of the rivers are actually coming out of the banks. I actually I'm on emergency management email notifications, and a lot of the rivers right now are actually getting in flood stages around in our region. So Blue Ridge is operated by TVA, Tennessee Valley. Is it Authority or Associates? I think it's Authority. And it's a hydroelectric power lake. Each year, around fall of the year, TVA lakes, U.S. Army Corps of Engineer lakes, those lakes were primarily built for two purposes. Number one, flood control. That's the biggest purpose, to try to prevent cities and towns along those river corridors and stuff that's not going to get flooded. So each fall of the year, they drain it down. I think Blue Ridge goes down. I don't keep an eye on the elevations to really know, but it's 20, 25, maybe 30 feet each year in the fall of the year. Usually I think they start the drawdown about Labor Day holiday and start letting it start dropping down slowly from there, which in the fall of the year too, not much rains happen. We went through a pretty bad dry spell. So I anticipate, each year, Christmas time, January, that's the reason why the authorities do that to the lakes. They anticipate those rains each year that's going to come, and it'll fluctuate at some, but it's good. It's still going to be low. It's still probably going to be, I would anticipate 20 plus feet low for that tournament.
Gotcha.
The rains is going to depict a lot of that event. And I'm sure Chris and Donnie, y'all both would agree to that. These mountain lakes, or even not mountain lakes, even the Piedmont, South Atlanta, east, west, whichever direction you go in, the rains really depict cold water to what habit the fish are going to start turning into. So that lake having spotted bass predominantly now, it's I'm gonna hush. Let these other questions other people have or something else to discuss. I could talk on and on about that. So so Craig is saying it. Comment here is ponds drying up this year. Do I fish out the perch I have in it? I'm assuming you're talking about maybe crappie or yellow perch. I highly doubt maybe. He's in South Dakota. We might have 5 feet last year. I had 20. So, I don't know really what to say on that one.
I would say fish out as many as you can if it's going to stay low, just because they're going to start getting, stunted. If you actually like having big perch, or it goes for any of those smaller, fish, you definitely want you don't want to let those things get overpopulated, because then they're just going to have a tough time surviving in there, and you're going to be a lot of stunted fish if you end up having a few years where your lake is, overpopulated. So heck yeah, man, have a perch fry. If you got only 5 feet left out of a 20-foot lake, have yourself a dang good perch fry, or heck, even throw a cast net in there and have a perch fry. But that's just, kind of basic lake ecology. But you definitely want to eat up some of them fish. So that's a fact.
Yeah, a lot of our lakes up here, Blue Ridge actually does have yellow perch in it. In Georgia, we typically don't have a lot of anglers that go after yellow perch. So they're around in some of the lakes, but a lot of people really don't target.
They're like a little tasty walleye is what they are. They're like a little tasty walleye, like a 7. Well, I mean, in South Dakota, you guys got pretty dang big yellow perch. They become the size of walleye up there in those parts. But white meat fish, they taste real good. They're not like your crappie though. They're not these big panfish. They're long, little slender things.
So we've been firing a lot of questions to Chris and Donnie, and also through to Ryan and Nick. So Chris, Donnie, do y'all have any questions maybe through with Tiny Boat Nation folks, or Ryan, or any questions that y'all might have, maybe products or anything like that, curiosity, things you'd like to learn a little bit more about?
Well, I got a feeling that they'll be hearing from me in a couple of weeks when I start. I've already spoken to Chris over there the other day about my lids and stuff. He was very helpful. I'll be ordering a live well, I'm pretty sure, and possibly a recessed trolling motor mount.
There's no way to fish in a boat without that recessed trail tray, and I've got one myself now.
Never had one, but after fishing in a boat with a buddy that did, that Dusty Diamond fella, it's nice.
Your back feels a lot better, don't it?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Chris.
Donnie, do you got any questions for him by chance or anything?
I don't right now, unless they have I'm the guy in the back of the boat. I just do what I'm going to do what Chris asked me to do when it comes down to working on his boat.
Get you a nice net holder.
Yeah.
So maybe we could start doing this from each points champion each year when we go through and do interviews. Maybe we could get like a best case scenario, what boat that they would want their dream boat, and tell them to get a sketch drawing together, so that way if they win, they can definitely hook up with these guys and get some boats built in the future for their dream boat. So Mac Dole saying, yay, another boat to work on. There's one of those dedicated employees, right?
He's been bored.
That's awesome. That's
awesome. So just to go ahead and mention this, Chris, Donnie, I don't know if you knew this, but we've banned forward-facing sonar for the Blue Ridge tournament, so I apologize in advance. But Dusty Diamond particularly, and he's going to have to not run his forward-facing sonar up there. So, and y'all are running forward-facing sonar, correct?
Yeah, we have the Garmin Panoptics.
So I just want to touch on this, just skim it a little bit, because I don't like touching on it too much. But have y'all seen times where it's hurt y'all more than do good?
I'll be honest with you, we don't really use it like a lot of guys I see using it. I don't chase fish a whole lot. I use if I pull up on a point, look for some fish. But as far as just getting out chasing them, I can't do it. Main thing I found with it is how well I can find structure. It's changed the game for that.
And understanding where the structure's at exactly and what it looks like, and
Yes,
getting
sir.
more details, what you're talking about, versus
Yes, sir.
side imaging, scanning, and just kind of like estimating where you're at.
Oh yeah, yeah. Watch, it's a whole different world.
Gotcha. So you have, do you have on your live scope, do you have like a mounting pole that's a manual swivel? Do you have the automatic? Do you have the turret, automatic turret, or how do you have that set up?
I just have it. I just have it mounted to the trolling motor.
Nice. Okay. I was going to ask if Donnie was the one down there with the pole turning it for you left and right.
I would. I can do that. You can attach it to the net, and I'll just stick the net to it.
Shoot. He's the reason we're building the boat, so he can get up on the front with me.
So I got a question.
Holder.
I got a question to ask about the forward-facing sonar stuff. So did y'all realize before getting it how much of a engineer, product software engineer you would probably have to be to keeping those things running and most efficiently? Did you realize that on that?
I didn't have a clue.
We had to reach out for help.
Yeah.
The technology that's on those things now, so it's very shocking.
Yeah. Updates and everything else you do on them, and then try to hone them in exactly the way you want them, get them dialed in. Mm-hmm. It's wild. You pretty much have to reset it up for every lake, just about.
Yep.
Dirty or clear, or, wind blowing messes it up a little bit, and but definitely with the stained water and clear water, there's a big difference.
Interesting. Do you think that's a like readings, like a reading deal where the density of the water and all the all the cloudiness of the water is causing an issue with the clarity of the return, or is it something else?
Yeah, it shows. You can actually see. It's almost like you can see the turbidity in the water.
Yeah, like the algae and the you can see kind of those half solids in the water.
Yeah, and you can go down on some of the sharpness, stuff, and get it dialed in pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we don't use it like a lot of folks do. But I'll tell you what, it helps. It helped us out a lot this past year. It's the first year we've had it.
Yeah.
So I do at least want to say. Go ahead.
I think that the biggest difference, because me and Chris will both admit that the dirtier, the shallower, the more we like it, both of us. But with having it, like he said, you won't see us chasing fish, but it also adds a level of confidence when you are throwing at structure that you can actually see fish on. It changes things that way as well. It changes your confidence with each cast when there's fish there, instead of before we had that, when you were casting to something that you thought might be holding fish, but you didn't know for sure.
Right. Yeah. So to expand on that a little bit, question's been asked by Mac Dole, and I'm thinking he meant to say it like this. Do y'all think that the live scope or the forward-facing sonar might possibly be banned in the future? Do y'all see that as a possibility?
I think they've let too much money be spent on it already. I don't think they'll be able to pull that out of people's boats without causing an awful uproar.
You still got to catch the fish.
Yeah.
That's
it's been said throughout our group and the different clubs, different members that I've talked to, and since, the creation and coming out of the forward facing sonar stuff, a lot of guys is very interested in holding a tournament, whether it be a pot tournament or whatever. Go back to the original days. No graphs, period, allowed. And I was joking earlier about the ban of the forward facing sonar at Blue Ridge, but it would be an interesting concept to just say, all right, guys, turn your graphs in. You're going to the lake, old school style. Lick your thumb, hold it up, and you're going to have to figure it out that day.
I'd be down with it.
That sounds like a special shootout event that needs to happen. The old school Bass Classic sounds like there needs to be another TEC event in the future with no electronics needed. I think even with if they banned live scope, for instance, that it would still be a great tool, like you, Chris, and Donnie had talked about, learning the lake and learning the structure, and like maybe not necessarily using it on tournament day, but using it as a tool. Yeah, and exactly the same way that the underwater cameras and stuff like that, those have been around for 20 plus years now. The underwater cameras, like they ban those technically, at least the Bassmaster, they ban those during tournament day, but you can go to your spots, during practice and scope down there and be like, oh yeah, there's 20 fish of 6 pounds apiece swimming around on my spot, So I'm a little jealous. I don't have live scope, or I don't fish enough right now to warrant jumping into live scope. But that's the next on my list someday is getting those live scope units. But man, it's crazy what they've done with the electric the turret, and then the Minn Kota version too now, where you lock on, and it's like I ran whose boat I was on, running that, and it's nuts. I mean, just to be able to see that thing working and be able to stick and stay with GPS positioning, it's like, I mean, the Army don't even have that technology in a lot of things, man. So,
I tell you, pretty wild to me, the biggest thing it's done is taking people that weren't good offshore anglers and made them good offshore anglers. If you take like the pros, Kevin Van Dam was one of the best, because he was a great offshore angler. And now that they have that live scope, all those other guys are catching up to him. And a lot of them are surpassing him because of it, because, they can find all the stuff he could, that he knew. They can go out with that live scope and find. I think it's even the playing field on that a lot.
Yeah, the higher at the top end stuff. So I'll just make a comment here. I'm sure Merrick will probably cut off Merrick here, but if you guys got questions, make sure to jump on the chat and comment, whether you're watching us on Facebook or on the TV Nation Outdoors YouTube channel, or the Georgia Bass-TEC YouTube channel. If you got, we're going to be wrapping up the show. You got questions, put them down in the chat, and we're going to be happy to answer them.
So I do have a question for Chris and Donnie, event specific. Lake Blue Ridge does have multiple species. They got predominantly now spotted bass, very good, healthy population of largemouth and in good size quality, as well as still some smallmouth population left in the lake. It's not as good as it used to be 15 years ago because of the introduction of the spotted bass illegally into the lake. But do y'all have like a game plan going into it, wanting to maybe specifically target one of those species more so than the other going into it in February, pre-spawn, coming into the post-winter feeding up frenzy? Do y'all have kind of an idea if y'all wanting to target?
Probably spots. That's probably what we'll target, spotted bass. I would love to find some, up shallow largemouths, but I just don't know if you're going to be able to find them, or if I'll be able to.
What do you think, Netman?
I live by Lanier. I love catching spots. So that's I really enjoy catching spots. I don't know. It depends on, when we get up there and get to fish it and get to practice a little bit. It more depends on what we find. But I'm with Chris. Before I get to lay eyes on the lake or anything, we'll probably target spots.
So I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. If folks didn't know this, Lake Blue Ridge does have a healthy population of blueback heron in the lake. If y'all didn't know that already, you know it now. I know there's threadfin, blueback, possibly even gizzard shad. I'm not 100% to that, but so I ain't asking for a particular spot, but maybe to enlighten maybe those folks, being there was a question asked tonight about being a newcomer coming into electric only stuff, and maybe that individual hadn't maybe targeted spotted bass. What are y'all going to look for maybe in February? Do y'all have like certain key transition areas or certain structure to the composition of the bottom of the lake? Do y'all have maybe something you can throw a bone at of something y'all like to target maybe that time of year to throw a bone to somebody to help them out?
Yeah. I think it's probably going to be one offshore, more than likely. But I'm probably going to start off the day fishing steep banks. Any kind of sharp drop, bluff walls, throwing jerk baits and things like that. Just to start the day off. When I go up there to practice, but as the day goes on, I will, we'll go out, check some ledges, and try to find some humps and things of that nature. Maybe try to find some brush piles.
There are some. The only difficult, and I will say this, the only difficult part about brush piles in that lake, the winter drawdown is going to have it down so low. And I will go ahead and say this, and I probably shouldn't, but they do have fish attractants out there that I don't. If it was DNR or whoever had sunk, they've got maps out there. It shows them. I will go ahead and tell it. More than likely, because of the winter drawdown, a lot of those fish attractants may be too shallow, possibly. I mean, it could happen. I mean, spotted bass, right time of year, right, variables that come in, they could be up there on the bank. So have y'all either of y'all, I wanted to ask this a minute ago, but I forgot it. Have either of y'all caught a smallmouth before?
Nope.
I've never. I'd like to.
Yeah, that's a dream of mine. I want to go up to like Mille Lacs or somewhere up there and get after some groanings.
So we'll tell you, I mean, there's it ain't far. Tennessee, North Carolina has got some lakes that are very close by that hold a very healthy population of smallmouth bass that a lot of folks travel up and catch them. So it's definitely a Nick, I know you've probably got smallmouth in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I grew up fishing smallmouth, probably half and half. I grew up in Washington State, so people don't think bass fishing in Washington State, but there's actually wonderful bass fishing there, and you got largemouth and smallmouth. A lot of mean smallmouth. The Columbia River's got a lot of 4 to 6 pound smallies that'll yank your hand off. So it's a lot of fun. They're a beautiful fish, man. I know you guys. It's funny listening to guys in Georgia, saying never caught a smallmouth bass. Ryan came out with me. Mike, who started Tiny Boat Nation, he's the guy, if you see the Tiny Boat Nation videos, he lives out in Lake Havasu, Arizona. And Ryan came out with me, 2 years ago now, to Lake Havasu and caught his first smallmouth and had a blast catching smallies. And then they got a river over there too, where they got the smallmouth and the current, and you get a 3 or 4 pound smallmouth pulling you in a 4 or 5 mile an hour current, and that'll kick your pants, man. It's great.
What was your first impression, Ryan, for catching a smallmouth?
Absolutely amazing. It was so fun. We were like bed fishing them in like 30 foot of water almost. Like it was crazy. It was neat. Totally different, but it was fun.
Those are some tanks. I know my PB came from Blue Ridge. It was probably about 25 years ago. 5.5 pound smallmouth I'd caught. I actually turned it back. So, but folks, I'm kind of stalling here for a little bit. If you got questions, I've given some ample opportunity. Feel free. We can kind of finish up the show. Again, we have our anglers from Xtreme Jon boat points champions Chris Phillips and Donnie League. So Michael does have one question here, or a statement. Is it me, or are the reservoirs fish totally different than a big lake like Lanier? Maybe y'all fish big lakes before, I believe you have, Donnie, compared to some of these reservoirs.
I think Chris has probably fished more variety than I have, but I live up here at Lanier, so I've got to fish it a pretty good bit. I don't think they fish that differently. I mean, it depends on what reservoir you're at. I mean, you know how it is. Some of them fish like a small reservoir, and some of them, they fish like a big lake. I think it really depends on which one you're on. But generally, when I approach it, I kind of approach both the same way for the most part.
Chris, what about you?
I think it all depends on if there's grass in the lake. If there's grass in the lake, them bass, they'll be shallow all year long, especially in the little reservoirs where you don't have the boat traffic. You catch them 6-8 foot deep all year. That's the biggest difference to me. Other than that, if your normal lake where you're, standard cover and rock or what have you, they fish about the same.
Shoot, yeah. So, half reigning state champion from this year wants to congratulate both you men for a job well done. Points champions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well as Chloe Phillips, congratulations on the wins, gentlemen. Appreciate all of our fans tonight getting on here and firing away some questions. If we've enjoyed the interaction with each and every one of y'all. If you have any questions that maybe you just didn't want to take and fire away at us, Nick, they can reach out through to y'all. How?
Yeah, so you can reach out to us at just tbnation.net. And then also to get a hold of Chris and Ryan, you can go to TB Nation Outdoors Southeast on Facebook, or just go to the tbnation.net site, and then in the right-hand corner says our locations, and you have the info for going and take a visit, or give a call to Chris and Ryan at the Southeast Shop, and they'll be happy to help you. And I just wanted to put a note in here for everybody that's fishing the TEC. The water temperature looks like it's going to be about 49 to 52 degrees. So I'm looking at the U.S. Water data from the U.S. Geological Survey, and they got the water temps on their averages. So it's going to be a little chilly, but them fish are going to start chomping. So I think it should be a pretty good time for y'all.
I have been up there in February. It's been probably about 17 years ago. It was in February. We fished out of one of the old John boat clubs, Bang, Bass Anglers in North Georgia. The club president at that time, Russ Edwards, we went in his aluminum boat, and it was like in the teens that day. It had been super cold for like a week straight. We went all the way up river and literally was busting through ice just to get – there was a break in the ice, but it was just a small section of the river completely iced over. That same day was the day that another anglers was out there, and they had nearly a 30-pound bag mixed between largemouth and smallmouth.
Mm. Yeah. Especially if you guys get a little warming trend before then. I mean, that's the low 50s water temperature, man. Things gonna start kicking, so that should be fun. It might be a little cold, but it's gonna be a lot of fun.
So I want to ask this to Chris and Donnie. Chris, Donnie, what are y'all's estimated guesses at winning weights?
I say 14.5 will win it.
I have no clue. I've never laid eyes on the lake. I've never laid eyes on it. I mean, I wouldn't even venture to say. Call it 18 pounds.
We have to mark this down, Merrick. We got to make sure we write this. Somebody write this down so we have everybody gets a weight guess.
It's recorded. It's in here.
Hey,
to be here.
Sounds like one of those little day box giveaways.
That sounds good to me. I'm game. I'm game for that, Chris. We'll do that. We'll throw in a day box to who gets the closest. I'm gonna write these down. So we got 14
on the record.
14.
Chris,
Do you want to make an adjustment to that 14 point something?
Yeah, let's go 14.3.
All right.
Two decimal places.
Then,
3.5.
Okay.
All right, Donnie, you're gonna do 18. What do you want to do? 18 something?
I'm gonna do 18.23.
All right, 18.23. All right. I'm gonna throw it in here just because I don't got any skin in the game. I'm gonna say 19.772 pounds.
$1.
Somebody's gonna catch a. Somebody's gonna. Yeah, the prices are right. Somebody's gonna catch a big largemouth. Somebody's gonna find some random largemouth, and somebody's gonna bring in some spots, and they're gonna have a 5 or 6 or 7, 7.5 pound largemouth hiding in there. So.
I hope it's us.
It's the time of year. It's that time of year to catch a good largemouth.
Yep.
It is. I think that's. I'm gonna take a bet on that one. Somebody's gonna get a decent bag of spots and stumble on a big old mama. So we'll see.
Ryan, you got a guess?
I'm gonna say 21 point.
Oh, jeez. Oh, you're going on 21. Wow. All right. Well, you're supposed to go take the under, Ryan. We're doing
At this point, I'm about to just stay home.
I think it's going to be over 20 for sure.
All right.
That's my projection.
Okay. Well, I love your optimism, Ryan. Love your optimism.
We'll see.
We'll try and get a little fishing in when we're there filming.
I will say some input that I've heard from one of the employees at the Blue Ridge Marina where we're going to be launching from at that event. They're anticipating, because he fishes it a lot, he's anticipating 18 pounds is what it's going to take.
Well, I might be off, but
let me get my day box.
Get it early. You can get it early, Don. We'll rent it to you. How about that? We'll rent it to you.
That'll work.
But he did say, I mean, there's particular areas that largemouths are predominant, that just like what you was talking about, a big giant largemouth. And trust me, I have mental images on that lake of one fish, and of all fish I've ever caught, I've only got 2 that's very, very memorable to me. Blue Ridge was one of them. So that could be for another show down the road. So appreciate both you men, Chris, Donnie, taking time tonight. Nick, Ryan, appreciate y'all tuning in live from the store from Tiny Boat Nation Southeast, showing the product lines, free propulsion, talking some boat build. Nick getting on here as well. Appreciate each and every one of our viewers taking time out of their night and watching it. If you're watching it at a later date, we appreciate it. If you don't mind, give us a like, subscribe through to all of our channels. We're going to have a lot of shows firing out 2 times a week. We may take a little break around Christmas, but we're going to be firing out a lot of shows back to back with our Hooked Up Live series, and appreciate each and every one of y'all taking time tonight. So I'll go through our sponsor lists again. Thank y'all, men.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Everybody.
Yeah,
We
thank you
enjoyed
for
it.
having us, and good luck to everybody.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So that wraps up our Hooked Up Live first show for the 2023 TEC event that's going to be coming up February. We'll be going live there for the weigh-in. So make sure, get over and check out our sponsors. We appreciate each and every one of them. G2 Gemini jerseys, line taming serum, Star Lures, the Dugout Bait and Tackle, Tiny Boat Nation Southeast, PFD Fishing. They've also got some lures that they have started making as well, giving 15% off any anglers. I didn't get into mentioning the idea of what's going to come. So all of the anglers that is competing in the TEC, I want you to listen to this very, very closely. Each angler that is participating, if you wind up purchasing some of their products and you were to catch a fish during the TEC event and you catch big fish for the event, PFD is actually going to be giving away a custom-made rod. All you have to do is catch one of the fish on their product line. So we appreciate their sponsorship through with us, PFD Fishing again. So no further ado, we appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in tonight. We'll be going live this Thursday night, 2 nights away, with the points champions from High Voltage. You don't want to miss it. It is a youth angler, father and son team, Team Nikolai. So we appreciate them taking time next week. Appreciate Donnie and Chris. Also appreciate, more importantly, all of our viewers here taking the time out and watching our show. So no further ado, God bless each and every one of you, and thank y'all for tuning in.